I know, so random. My brother.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Hey, Fidel, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Good,
All right.
good.
Sorry, I was running a little behind, and I had the old URL of the old link.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
I see.
It should still work. I think that's the same.
Yeah, I
Must
see.
have been another link.
Yeah, I see now. I just went to it, and I said, "Oh man, I missed it." Then
Oh.
I saw it in the middle of the page.
No, we're gonna kind of keep it short and sweet and to the point. If you have questions, we'll just we'll give it a little bit there at the end to be able to ask a couple of questions. But it's more for not the super users like you.
That's fine. I can always learn something.
Yeah. So anyway, well, what do you think? I think we should just
let's
go
get
ahead
going.
and
Yep.
kick it off here. Well, thanks Fidel for jumping on with us. You are our customer for the day to help guide us through this a little bit. But what we wanted to do today is just kind of show a little bit about permissions and settings for users. What a lot of people don't understand around these permissions and users is that there are different permissions for the customer settings, which is Fidel HC Smeeting, but it's for you as the customer. And as we talk through different things with you guys and are setting up you guys are setting up Schmeeting, let's say, you'll come across things that you aren't going to need in the system, and so we just hide them in the system. And so what we wanted to make clear today is that if you are working with somebody and you see them use something, it may just be because we haven't turned that on for your customer set or for your customer. And so we have a whole list of customer settings that we can turn on and off, little things that we should go through, and just kind of wanted to give you a glimpse of what there is out there. The second thing is user settings, which is, Fidel, you're used to using the user settings and going in, setting some of this stuff up, and then you have the privileges that you give to each of them for what they need to see in the system. And then the third thing is just giving them access to, or being able to give them access or take away access based on the user themselves. Are they part of your company? Are they outside the company and a customer? Are they outside the company and a vendor? Some of these little things like this that we can help limit their access to what they see in the system. And so with that being said, I'm gonna turn the time over here to Jeff and have him kind of step through just the basic user stuff here.
Yep. So we're just in the settings and users, and I am in my own user here, and I've marked this up so we can easily identify the different parts of this that we're going to cover. But actually, let me jump back into our screen here really quick, because I don't have this identified, but I did want to address this. The user type. So we have a big long drop down list. Essentially, most companies are setting up their users as either a company admin or a company user. And so the company admin is for the high level individuals that are okay with changing settings, changing things that affect the entire company. But something when we're setting up customers, we try to reiterate is even if you delete stuff, for the most part, you're only making it not visible to you. And we have ways of retrieving that. It's still stored in our database. We don't delete hardly anything, and we can retrieve it, make it visible again. So even if you do make the worst of the worst mistakes, we can help you retrieve that. But company admin, company user, those are the two primary settings. And just wanted to highlight that. That's typically after putting in the personal information, the next thing that people select or are stumped at. Do I, what should I put them as? And so the rest of these specific roles are not as complicated as they look, and we are working on getting some tooltips that we will be adding to these. So a tooltip would be one of these question marks, and when you hover over it, it's going to have a pop-out window that's going to explain what's going on with that specific role. And so starting with the manager role, this is a very specific. I think some people think one of two things: either we want to select everything to give us permissions for everything because I'm an admin, so I want to give myself everything, or that this is a title that you're trying to identify the user by. And it's neither of those. There are some very specific logic that we have. And like this manager one, for example, is simply for our orders by customer. We have an AR AP report, and this allows a manager to view a standard user, a salesperson in that list, and view their orders. So it's a very specific logic we built for one company, and that's pretty much all it does. So an admin automatically has that. Pretty much everybody else doesn't need to worry about it. And then the cells, this simply allows you to be put down as a salesperson on an order. And so you have the two options on an order to, let me hop in there. Might as well show that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the salesperson, and if you're check marked, all of the users in your system that are marked as a salesperson are going to show up. And so it'll be the same thing on this next slide when we start talking about the booked by person. So as we go into the transportation, that allows them to show up as the booked by person on an order. And so that's it. There's not all this logic surrounding those two items. It's not super complicated. The accounting role, it does open up some certain privileges. So this allows you to create a standard user, but not have to give them admin rights. So the accounting role gives them some of those admin privileges that are related to their accounting position, without opening up everything to them. And so certain things like being able to force status change an order and skip all the steps, the resend to ERP, to be able to change the invoiced date and time, see the accounting summary, and then another important one down on the freight and fees on an order, being able to add those or remove them from an invoice. And so everything around accounting primarily. But one of the biggest ones is once an order is approved for invoicing or in invoice status, it locks down the pricing for that order. And so unless you have the accounting role or you're an admin, you cannot you can't change the pricing once it's ready to invoice. So. And then the vendor and customer, this is another thing. This is an external user, an outside vendor that you want to give them access to orders that are only specifically related to them. And it's very limited access. They only see the vendor side of the orders and the pricing for just the vendor. And then to make this available to them, you need to set up some sub-privileges for that company, for their vendor company, and then they'll only see those. Same thing with the customer. This is an external user. You have a customer, you want to give access to their specific orders. You check this box and then go into the sub-privileges and assign their company name to them as a sub-privilege, and then it locks those orders down to that. And that is essentially it. There is, as far as the roles go, it's not a very complicated. It's not very complicated for that first page.
Yep.
And so where we start getting into the complication is when with specific settings, and typically when we have someone that you need to give a very small area of access, and you don't want them having access to anything else. And so that's where we start getting into our privileges and getting down into a lot of the different logic here. But I'll let Doug drive this, and
Okay.
we will.
So the privileges are just limiting what a specific user can see inside the system. And so as you go down through this list, and I know, Fidel, that you've been in here in this list and seen what actually activates different things. But as we keep adding different things to this list, you're gonna see some different permissions show up, especially like around the mobile app. There's a lot of stuff here that is getting added as we speak. We're trying to grow that part of the application a lot here. One of the things that's happening right now that we're finding out, that as you give access to the mobile app, you also have to have the same access down in here. So if I want to add inventory to an order by loading it, I do have to have this load truck. We are in the process of fixing that to make it so that if I click this one, it will click this one as well. And so as we go through these settings pages and try and refine things, we're going to start grouping things together. Instead of having all of the different reports, you may just have dashboard and reporting section, and making it so that we don't have, I believe there's like over 100 different buttons on this page that you could click and give access to your users with. By the time you get all the way down here through the settings and everything like that, we want to simplify. Want to make this a little easier to manage, especially for the ones that are managing that. The second thing we wanted to go over is the sub privileges. This is where you actually give a user, so you a user the ability to only see their orders, or a customer only to see their orders that are going to them. And then we add the user in, and this limits what they can see out on the order board and shipping board.
And this is only, to clarify, only for vendors and customers. This does not apply to carriers.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually need to build out probably a carrier's board or a trucking board or something separate. But if you do carriers, it's not going to work.
Yes.
It's vendor and customer only.
Yep.
So just so we're clear.
And so we will probably be hiding some of this stuff so that it's not as confusing. So the next one that I wanted to kind of step into is our source location. This is what gives you access to see production boards, inventory boards, source boards for a packing location. So we want to be able to limit a user to some of these different, oops, I went back too far, some of a specific location that they're over. And so that's what that is for. And most often, this is the one thing that gets forgotten about when you're setting up a user that's over a packing shed, because he'll come back to you and say, hey, I cannot see the production board, I can't see the inventory board. About 90% of the time it's because we haven't added the location right here. And so that's kind of a quick step through on some of the stuff around just the user settings. I just wanted to briefly show the admin section. This is our side of things and giving you access to something. And we're just going to go to my test account. Here, you can see here as we scroll down through this, and I'm just going to kind of scroll down through here. Well, I was going to do it slow, maybe not so much, but want you to be able to look through here, and if you have questions on them, please feel free to ask and see what this is used for. You know, you may not see this on your side at all when you're setting up stuff, but these are the company settings here that we have to go through and set up different things. And so please look through this. If you would like to have more information on that, please feel free to call on that. And then the same thing with roles. These are the different roles on the customer page. This is all of the roles that we have.
Privileges is what it shows up
privileges,
at
yeah.
in your settings.
Yeah, thanks.
So.
Yeah, these are all of the privileges that are able to show up in your settings. And there's a lot of times that we shut them off because we know that you may not be using that. And so if there's any questions there as well, please feel free to ask about them. And
So, and the biggest one now is, yeah, we're adding stuff all the time to the mobile app, and you know, the company doesn't have the ability to load the truck because it hasn't been checked on your company settings.
Yeah.
So we just have to make sure your company's got everything as we're doing that until we modify this page and simplify things. For now, if you're missing stuff's not working, it could be, especially with the mobile app, that you don't have that set for your company.
So that's basically all we wanted to kind of touch base on here today. Fidel, do you have any questions?
I do.
Perfect.
I don't see this.
You didn't,
Yeah.
You won't see this page.
I won't see this. Okay, not a problem. Because I immediately went to go look and I didn't see it.
Yeah, you
So-
won't have this page. This is strictly on
Okay.
our side so that we can.
Okay, got you. Oh, all right. Okay.
And generally, what we do is when we're setting you up, these are some of the things that we'll go through as we're talking through your processes and stuff like this. Or I'll say, oh, he likes to have his orders roll over, so we'll go ahead and turn this on. Or, as you have questions and stuff, we'll activate and deactivate some of these things as we go. And
Okay.
one of our goals is to make this a little more visible to you on your side, so that you can kind of go in there and see what everything is, give you clarification, because I know right here you have this EDI. What does that mean? Yes or no? And that's a pretty broad term, and so there's going to be a lot more clarification as we step through a lot of this stuff.
Understood.
So, anything else there, Fidel?
Not specific in regards to what you've shown.
Okay. So what we will probably do then here is we'll close it out. This video is actually going to be available to you. If you go up to our section up here, you're going to see
Just the help center.
the help center up here and the
Webinars at the bottom.
webinars right here. So this was our last webinar. You'll see the next one show up underneath this. And so if you wanted to take a closer look, Fidel, and just kind of look through what that video and be able to pause and see what we have on our side, and then if you have questions on that, we'll answer them to the best of our ability. So
No, not a problem. So is it just going to, I get you guys, just previous webinars. So this will just add and kind of
we'll just
go
keep
down the
building
list.
it.
Okay. Got you.
we're trying to do this once a month, and so if you guys have specific things that you'd like us to jump in and cover, let us know.
Yeah, and for
Okay.
training purposes. So the other idea is that companies have a resource of, we're bringing someone new on board, and we need to show them the mobile app or show them run profiles and how to use those. And of course, we're always here and available, but something they can watch in their own time and pause it. Mirror stuff. Some people learn different. Us trying to explain something over the phone might be more difficult, but it just depends on their learning style. And some people eat this stuff up and will spend tons of time on support pages trying to learn for themselves. So this is a good resource for them.
Understood. Would you have maybe, as this thing grows, potentially bullet points or little blurbs as to what this video may cover? Because you may have some things contained within that it's not. You talk run profiles, but you also discuss some other things, similar to this.
Yeah, so we have the main topics, and so that'll be in the title. On the video, so I bookmark it, so when you go into the video as well, it has it time segmented.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can hover on the timeline, and it'll show you what topic we're talking about for that period of time. And so it is bulleted there on the YouTube video, and then but we're trying to keep it to those specific topics. And then, of course, if there's other stuff, we'll just stay on after, stop the recording, and answer other questions that may deviate from that.
Makes sense. To become a good little video knowledge base at some point. Yep. Okay.
Well, I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to cover this time, and so. Feel free to reach out.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.